3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Lenny. Welcome to another exciting episode of Wholesaling with Lenny. Guys, I am extremely honored today, okay, to be in the presence of greatness, okay? And guys, I call these guys great because I see what they do. I know what they do. They don't play no games, okay? Guys, two guys buying homes. Guys, we got Josh Manning. We got Evan Ryan. Guys, what's going on?
All right, man. I don't know about greatness.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like a big fat lie, but
really you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here to fill up.
I couldn't find anybody else.
Hey man, we definitely appreciate
the
humility. Yeah, we definitely appreciate the humility. So guys, for those watching, those who listening in podcast land, you two guys own a thriving real estate company, adequately named Two Guys Buying Homes, right?
Yep.
Let's start with Evan, right? Because you're a realtor, correct?
Yep.
So, okay, Evan, let's start with you first, right? So, were you a realtor prior to you two guys starting the company?
10 years, yeah. 2010. We started, Josh and I started about 2.5 years ago, 2 years, 4 or 5 months ago, something like that. So, 10 years, a decade.
Definitely, man, definitely. So, as a realtor, and now building this business out, do you think, your 8 years before, hooking up with Josh, you think that actually helped you out more than normal regular guys jumping in?
Absolutely. So in my world, so different from Josh's world, I had attempted myself, probably embarrassingly enough, don't want to admit, many times doing this stuff without somebody with the elite level that Josh knows with construction, and running ops and doing all that like he's done in his past. And I'm sure he'll tell you in a little bit, me dealing with contractors, I got to the point where I was like, I don't even want to do it. Building wealth through this process. Like I even got to the point where I was like, I don't want to do it. It's that bad. Like it's terrible. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know how to set stuff up. I go to seminars. I do all this stuff. It was as bad for me just to say, no, I don't want to do it. So I was like, at the time, I was really in the process of like, how am I going to do this process that Josh and I do now by myself? And, I didn't want to just put it to the side. And, Josh and I have been friends since high school. And we've known each other since our freshman year of high school. Always been friends, kind of connect once a year, playing golf or something like that through text. And I, oddly enough, got a text through my financial advisor who said, hey, Josh, meet Evan and let's go play golf. Us three, I want to connect you to. And it said Josh Manning at the top. I hadn't talked to Josh in like a couple of years, actually. And I was like, Josh Manning is on this text. And he's like, yeah, you know him? And I was like, unfortunately, yeah. And then we got talking about real estate. And I think 2 years later is when we connected. But it really pushed me into this sense of Josh has an elite level of developments and ops that I don't have. I'm a lowly realtor. I know the market type thing. I really understand that end of it. I understand all the theories of real estate really well, but in an applicable sense of the everyday to-do-ness of all of that process, I did not have. And I was very on the cusp of just not even attempting to do it. And I'm doing the dishes one day and Josh calls me and is like, hey man, I'm really thinking about doing this real estate thing, this investing thing, we've been talking about, what do I do? And when we started talking about the process and doing stuff, and he's like, Evan, I don't know anything of what you do. And I was like, dude, I don't know anything what you do. And, let's just connect and try one. And, we went and got one that turned into 3 the next week.
Nice.
And turned into 7, turned into 50, turned into 100, what felt like overnight.
Wow.
So
just like that, boom.
It felt like it. I mean, it really did.
So
It really felt like it. I mean, it's
is-
obviously not overnight, but I mean, we looked behind us, and
yeah.
I think Josh looked at me one day. He's like, "Dude, you know we own like 70 homes," and I was like, "What?"
Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. Beautiful, beautiful. So, Josh, so before you two hooked up, right? Evan did touch on ops, you know, in the building as far as that goes. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. On what I did?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I've always, like Evan said, Evan and I went to high school together. Both graduated, which was a miracle. Then both went to college, and surprisingly, both got college educations.
They paid us
From advanced degrees. From there, I went and did commercial construction, and so worked for a company that specialized in large multifamily hospitality, things like that. Started as an intern, worked up to project manager, then vice president. And so I was very involved in the construction phase of things, from just the doing submittals to ordering materials to running crews, and then that transitioned into the financial side of it and running the company of a large 10, 12, $15 million a year company with a couple hundred employees. And then, like Evan said, we just, hey, let's start buying some real estate. And I don't know anything about what Evan does. I've learned a lot from it, but I learned it from our experiences, from buying it for this price, fixing it from this, and then hey, ARVs from this. But Evan has a special skill in that. He also has patience with it, where I don't have the patience to deal on the retail side and deal with the end consumer and to deal with that, just like he doesn't like dealing with the contractors. But that's what I do. And so I think that's why our partnership works so well, because he stays kind of in his lane and I stay in my lane, and we just both do what we're really well at. And because of that, we've been able to accumulate a lot of properties and generate a lot of net worth for the both of us. And so that's kind of the background of it is, I've always done construction, so I handle the rehabs and the development side of it, and then the operations and finances for the company, the companies. And then Evan and I, we have weekly meetings with our staff, and then we communicate. We try to weekly. It doesn't really happen as much, but owner meetings, and kind of go over where the company is and what we're doing, and then just like, hey, what are our goals and things like that. And that's just kind of how we've gotten where we are.
Yeah, that's what we call a business, ladies and gentlemen. That is a business.
So and that's one thing I want to hit on is, like, Evan and I took a different approach to real estate investing. Like, there are a lot of guys that we work with, a lot of guys that you work with, that are wholesalers, real estate investors, that are, like, hey, they may own 20, 30, 40 properties, and there's enough rental income. They don't have to work a full-time job. They can live off of that, and that's like their passive income. And if they wholesale something, great. Or if they do that, like, great. Like, we took the approach on, like, hey, we want to build like a legit business. Like, we want to have branding. We want to have a storefront. We want to have office employees. Like, we have put a lot of time and effort to build an actual company. So, like, and a lot of people don't know that, like, we have the multiple kind of divisions and companies within it. We do the Evan Ryan team, which does the retail sales. We have the two guys buying home, which is really like our buy and hold company. It holds most of our portfolio, and it does all of our rehabs in it. But then we have two guys renting homes, which property manages our properties, but then also we're at 165, 175 outside doors of other doors that we manage for other investors. And then, we have the student housing project downtown. We've got the storage facility that we're building. We've got apartment complexes that we're in design phase on. So we really look at our company as like kind of 5 phases: sales, buy and holds, property management, development.
Yeah, a structure.
There's
Literally a structured company. Because,
correct.
like you said, and I'm glad you touched on that, because so many people run around with their heads cut off, right?
Right.
It's really common in our industry. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like really no organization, right? And that's like those are basically like the 5 key points that every business needs.
Yeah.
That's the real estate business, right? So,
Lenny, it's so easy to take a seminar, or even in the real estate sales world, to get your real estate license. Out of all the fiduciary businesses, a real estate agent is like the easiest to get into and the cheapest. It's a 2-week class, take your test, and you're in it, and you're holding somebody's biggest investment of their lives, right? It's easy to become a wholesaler. You can just slap a wholesaler like on your business card, basically. Even though Josh said, hey, we're going to do one, we didn't just do one. We immediately got on the phone with the lawyer. We immediately got our LLC set up. I mean, we treated this from that conversation as a business.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. So, like, as what would you guys say? Well, actually, I wanted to go into like the niche, right? Because you guys got a certain niche, right? As you guys know, I wholesale a lot of properties, right?
Yep.
And you two guys are the guys that I generally see the most that will literally buy a property, take it down to the studs, redo the whole property entirely to where when someone actually comes in and lives in that property, they're actually the first ones living in that property. Right. And I've watched a lot of investors like not do that, and then they wonder why they can't keep quality tenants. You know what I mean? So would you guys say that doing like using your motto, right, that you guys motto, would you guys change that?
No, I mean, that's something we've talked about since day one. I mean,
we wouldn't change it, but I'd say what we're doing right now is we're adapting to the market. I think Evan and I are very good at adapting. We don't take an emotional approach towards business, towards real estate. So the Burr method, is really what you're talking about. I always kind of say like we do it with an asterisk because we don't flip our properties. We keep them for long-term rentals.
Right.
And our philosophy or thought process behind the real estate is that if we can buy the house right, we can gut it to the studs, we can update all the mechanical, we can fix the framing issues, we can do all the new finishes, put windows, put a roof on it, do all that kind of stuff. Then we get a bunch of benefits from it. You get a property that is basically brand new. You get the value adder of the rehab that you put into it. So typically we're able to cash out, refi some money for the business. And then on top of that, we have really nice places that we can get good rents for, and we can provide good homes to good people. And that's kind of like from the beginning, what we always talked about is like, hey, I want to have a property that your family would be comfortable living in and that my family would be comfortable living in, right? Maybe not necessarily the location. We have a lot of north side properties, but the quality of the homes is there.
Exactly.
So our business has been very Burr heavy. I mean, in the 2.5 years, I mean, I honestly, I couldn't even tell you, Lenny, how many we've done, but I mean, it's well over 100. It's probably 150 would be my guess, somewhere right around there in 30 months. But then with kind of the way the market's kind of changing a little bit, we've bought up some lots and we're doing some new builds, and we're going to keep those for long-term rentals as well. Nice. And then we're doing more what I would call lipstick remodels than we've done before. So we're buying ones that just need like flooring and paint, and maybe like a kitchen upgrade or something like that. We're a lot pickier on them because it's not our area of expertise. But we are kind of doing that. So, everybody knows, we're working towards a recession. Interest rates are through the roof. Deals are harder to put together. And so Evan and I have just adapted really well to, hey, we've got so many employees. We've got these guys that are working in the field. We have this office staff. We have all this. Like we gotta adapt to the market. So would we change our strategy? No. That is why we've gotten where we've gotten. The BRRRR method has given us the income to do the developments. It's given us the income to have an office. It's gotten us where we want to go. And honestly, it's what we're good at.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's what we excel at. So I wouldn't change it.
No.
It was kind of a long answer, but no.
I'm pretty sure that took 10 minutes off the podcast.
And
it helped Lenny out a lot because he promised an hour.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So Evan, man, what do you guys look for specifically in an investment property?
I hate to be general, but as long as the numbers work, the numbers work. When we first started, just like Josh just went over, Josh really loved to gut it and start from 0.0, basically, because it was actually easier for him because we did one, our maybe property 10, Josh did one, and it was like, I wasn't able to take this down to the studs and it didn't turn out the way we really wanted it to turn out because we just lipsticked it at the time, quote unquote. Like he said, we're adapting. So it's like, yeah, as long as the numbers work, they work. But Josh and I, like maybe not in words or something, but Josh and I go to a house and it's like, yes or no, like we know. And it's not, sometimes there's not like a specific checkbox list. Just sometimes we know like, hey, this is a house. This is us. This is it. And, that's not the best business aspect of it because we need a checklist 1 through 10, check off all the lists. But up to this point, we just can look at a house and go, hey, there's enough room here. We can do it. It looks like us. And,
so much repetition.
Well, it is a lot of repetition.
Yeah, a lot of repetition.
It's also like really, I kind of think about it. Most of the time, like, let's say you send us a property, right? Say it comes from Lenny and you're like, hey, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street. You send it over, you got all the pictures and stuff. We'll kind of look at it like, hey, yeah, we like it. First thing I always do, regardless of what it comes through, I'm like, Evan, what's the ARV on it? What's this thing's worth after we're done fixing it up? Evan will run comps, send them over to me. And this is why I think honestly with this, I am like the aggressive, go-getter, like I'm the risk taker. Evan is a lot more conservative. And so like his ARVs, in all honesty, Lenny, probably in the 150 we've done, he's probably only missed a handful, maybe 5 or 6 that it's like, oh, we said it was going to be 140 and we got 125 or 130. And so we just, honestly, we go to property. I already know what the ARV is. We walk in it. And I know from repetition, I'm like, okay, I know what mechanical costs. I know what framing costs. I know what sheetrock costs. And I'll tell Evan, I'm like, well, I think I need 50 grand to do the rehab on this thing. And, he says it's worth this. We look at it and we're like, okay, that makes sense. And then we make an offer on, or we just, we don't even really beat people up on pricing. It's just numbers, if it works, like he said, if it works.
Not at all.
I think some people get so caught up in the numbers and like just, man, it just is what it is, and we've done so many of them that I'm not saying we haven't lost money because we have for sure. We've bought them and I've went way over budget and I've done stuff like that. But that's just part of real estate investing. That's just part of learning about what we're doing. Yeah. But we don't have this convoluted, really, crazy way of going through and evaluating a property. Like you said, a lot of it is just experience and feel. Do we think we can get it done for that?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. So, Evan, I know, Evan, really, really quick. You, like I said, you've been a realtor for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And you guys literally put the management company together as well, to where, like you guys say, you guys manage over 120 something, and still constantly growing, right? Constantly growing, every week, every month. In the next 10 years, right? Where do you guys see? Well, excuse me, not Evan, but both of you guys. Where do you guys see this thing going in the next 10 years? Because you guys got this thing down pat, right? So I already know there's a 5 year.
Yeah, we have,
You know what I mean? So,
we kind of have ballparked our 10 and 5 year, and we're such a young company too. We're still learning our way in life right now. Our 10 years, we're not fully going to probably go over it right now, but our 10 years is pretty lofty. Like, I mean, we've got a lofty goal, and a very lofty goal. We're in the middle of talking to the team about it. We're in the middle of, talking to lawyers and accountants and bookkeepers and HR companies all about like our growth in the next 10 years. Because we really believe in this thing. Josh and I haven't taken a dime out of this company, actually. For as much as we've done, Josh and I have been very, we see more, we know the growth in it, we see the quality in it. It's not something small. It's something actually really important, not just to our community, but the surrounding communities. Look at what Josh has done. And, we take some, excuse the language, we take some shitholes, man. And we may take some freaking shitholes. And, there was a time where Josh and I both opened the door and we felt the smell, and we immediately closed the door. And as we were about to barf, we said, we'll take it. So, we're taking houses like that and, making them, go into our homes, man. I'd live in them. I think that's kind of the rule is like, Josh and I wouldn't live in them. They're not ours. We're making them nice. And Josh is right. We're putting very quality people in these places and making communities better. It's not a small thing what we're doing. And, it's hard to know when, we're, bitching about, lumber costs and stuff like that. You get mad and blah, blah, blah. But when you have conversations like this and you really think about it, we're, you're changing lives in this. And,
I told Josh, we was at the REI meeting, and I was like, man, I got to have you on the podcast. And he was like, I don't know for what. And I'm like, dude, like you guys are like changing the landscape of this place. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Putting good people in the quality homes, changing the neighborhood, making the neighborhood safer, making people's property values go up.
That and we're, we can do a unique thing with the client in all aspects of real estate. Like, we don't talk about it much, but, take a seller right now. Like, Lenny, you're a wholesaler. You talk to a seller and you can either wholesale we can wholesale properties. We can help your property manage your property. We can sell your property. We can develop your property. We have such a unique thing that, we can take somebody from point A to point B in their life that, not normal wholesaler and or agent like real estate agents can do. And now that we're getting into, like, I was born, like, my real estate career was born in the recession, right? The '08 recession. I got in 2010, the worst month of the worst year, the recession in Springfield, Missouri. That's when I got in, right? So, like, we're going back into a period where people are going to have some hard time selling and making some decisions in life. And to say, hey, look, you're underwater, you can't sell this house, but we can property management for you, or we can make it the way you like it, or we can do all of this stuff. We can really, it's just all things real estate. We can take care of people. And that's very unique of what Josh and I do. I've done a lot of research on it, and it's very uncommon. So, we can make the world a better place through something just as simple as helping you buy, sell, invest, develop, whatever it is with real estate.
Most definitely. So now I just caught that invest real quick, kind of slid that in there real quick, right? So that kind of expands my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where like in the future, I don't know how far, but Evan said invest. Like, will someone be able to buy shares into the properties?
Again, Josh and I aren't into the point of where we can like totally go over some of our future goals. We still have a lot of stuff to work out there. That's a possibility. If you think real estate right now, anything in real estate, look, Josh and I are talking about it and talking about what we're going to do to be able to facilitate, and I'll talk about one aspect because we've already done it a couple of times. People, who want to invest in real estate, who may be a little scared or don't have the total means, dude, we can take you. I mean, we can help you buy a house, fix it up, put it on the market as a rental, put it on the market as a seller. I mean, we can facilitate maybe somebody who doesn't have the means themselves to, start investing in their future. And that's tough. I mean, that's a tough decision. I mean, people on this podcast, it might be super easy because we do it. But for your everyday Joe, Jill and Joe or whatever, that's tough. It's hard. It's scary,
Yeah,
and with Josh's very unique ability that nobody else has, this company can go very, very far.
Most definitely. Now, going back to Josh and the unique abilities when you guys were talking about the building, stuff like that. Josh, how do you, and he was like, well, I see it, and I know just repetition. I know the plumbing's going to cost $7,000. I know the roof's going to cost X amount of money. How do you stay on budget?
I mean, it's a challenge sometimes, to be honest with you, but it is, I think a lot of it is just, it's just repetition, I mean, and that's exactly what it is. So what we've done is, my contractor experience, the large commercial construction company, the money coming into it, billings that you get as a contractor typically take a long time to get. I mean, if you're working, you see people building these, hospitals, building apartments, doing all that kind of stuff. The guys working on it typically aren't getting paid for like 60 days. So the companies out there that are framing and doing all that stuff are fronting payroll for the guys and doing all that. And it's really challenging. So what we did from the beginning, when I told Evan, I said, look, I want to take care of anybody that works for us. Like I want to not drag them out on money. I want to make sure everybody gets paid. And so we have always paid everybody every single week. I mean, I've even drywallers get done and work late. I'll meet them on a Tuesday at 9:30 and give them a check when they're done. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we want to take care of the contractors to make sure that they get paid. So I kind of negotiate deals with these guys when they come in, and I say, look, I got three things. I'll make sure you always get paid. You never have to worry about money. You never have to go and look for work again. And I will keep you busy, but I need you to make sure that I hit these jobs on budget. And so, like, we'll take a crew and we'll put them on there and we'll tell them, like, hey man, the labor on this is $20,000 for your part of it, and they just know, like, I gotta get it done for $20,000. So that means if they got to work a Saturday, they got to work overtime, or they got to do it, they just do it. And what's happened is that because we pay them every week and we treat them, like humans and like employees, and we take care of them, in return, they take care of us. Mm-hmm. And so if I have a project that is going to be, I can tell, like, oh, hey, I'm going to go over budget on this thing. I can tell the guys, like, hey man, I need some help on this. Can we, what can we do? And we can usually get it in line. I mean, I'll tell you, if anything that I'm proud of is it's building the crew that we have and the guys that are working for us. I mean, we have an excellent staff. I'd put our guys against anybody. I really would. I mean, and so that our team is why we're able to stay on budget. Our team and the kind of the processes and the things that we put in place. That is why we're able to get the things done at the cost that we need to get them done and in the time that we're getting them done. This kind of goes on a little bit just to give you an idea, though. Most 95% of the properties we buy are full guts. So we demo them all the way down. I mean, Lenny, you've seen a ton of them to studs, and then we'll fix if there's termite damage or subfloor problems or any of that kind of stuff. We fix all that. Then we redo all the mechanical, electrical, the plumbing, and then we insulate, sheetrock, paint, flooring, trim, doors, all that kind of stuff, roofs, windows. We pull permits with the city. We get inspections on everything. We get TCOs on the done. So, I mean, it's a legit deal. And we're doing most of these from start to finish in 60 days. So, I mean, it's just they're flying on it, and the guys are good. The processes are there. We just don't – I don't know. It really just comes back to the team, man. It's what it is. It's why we're able to get it done on time and on budget, just because of the staff that we have.
Yeah, Josh is really built. I mean, I kind of have an outside looking in perspective on that. And, Josh has really built a great crew on that end. I mean, like phenomenal. Like the guys are phenomenal. I mean, we have a certain culture that is, just amazing. It's poking fun at each other, but we support each other, it's awesome.
It comes back to just, building the business. You know, I mean, it's creating the culture and cultivating that. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? I mean, you've known Evan and I for a while, but like Evan and I are very laid back. I mean, we both are, in blue jeans and t-shirts, and I've never seen Evan without a hat on backwards. And, we wear hey dudes onto the job sites. And like, I think the guys kind of respect that because like we'll work right side by side with them, but we're also just like them. And we've created this, like, we want to take care of them. We've helped a bunch of the guys buy properties and rehab them and turn them into rentals, and we've mentored them through that process. Evan's found them houses, and then we've sold them to them, and then I've helped them through the rehab process, and we hooked them up with bankers. And so it's like we want to take these, we want to better our employees' lives as they better ours as we go.
Yeah, so many people don't treat contractors like people, and it's like sick to see sometimes. And it's, Josh really treats them like people. And
well, they are. They're our team. They're why we're
treats them well and totally respectful, and they work really hard. I mean, they do everything. I mean, we force them to take time off. I mean, I've been on the, right next to Josh, and he's called them and said, "You guys are taking Friday off. You guys killed it. Get out of here."
Well, we do barbecues for all the holidays here, and so we'll have 40 or 50 people come here and we'll play cornhole, and Evan and I'll cook for them. And, we have big Christmas party where we give away, thousands and thousands of dollars of tools and gifts, and everybody gets something. And it's just to show our appreciation. And I mean, they are contractors, but they don't work for anybody else. They're 1099 employees, but they don't work for anybody else. They're just on our stuff. They wear our t-shirts, and they bought into our culture, and they're just part of our team, man. And so I'm able to stay on budget again. Like Lenny, like I could show you it. You'd laugh at it, but our budgets are literally like a composition notebook that I'll say like, hey, I got $60,000 on this house, and then every time we buy something, we do it. I write it as I'm going down, and I keep track of that. And then, but the big thing, man, is the team. That I stay on budget because we have an excellent team. Mm-hmm. That's why. It's not me. It's not me staying on budget. I want to make things nice. I want to do things different. I want to, sometimes I want to change stuff. But we've gotten to the point now to where we've kind of systemized everything. So like it's the same paint colors for doors, trim, walls. It's the same windows. It's the same roof material. It's the same flooring. It's the same trim. It's the same doors. It's the same hardware. Same vanities. So I mean, you see our properties online when they get listed for rent. Like you can pick out a Josh and Evan property because it's gonna look the same, but it makes it quicker to rehab. Our guys know they don't have to call. It's the same thing. So it's just getting those, and we've gone over budget. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like we haven't. We went to closing and wrote checks to get houses refied, and I mean we've done that multiple times. But it's just we're gonna 9 out of 10 times we're gonna hit it right. 8 out of 10 times.
Nice. So I know you guys do. Okay, so last year, I believe it was last year when I met you guys had like 100 homes last year.
Yeah. Right.
And that was like the summer last year. Uh-huh. We're not in the summer. We're not in the summer of last year anymore. How many properties do you guys currently hold? And I don't know if you guys have started out of state yet, or like how many properties do you got now? And have you started out of state yet? And how do you feel about out of state investing?
Yeah. So I'll take this one real quick. So right now we've got roughly like 60 units, 60 doors. We have sold somewhere between 65 and 70 this year. So, I mean, we had 130 or 40 or something like that. And we've sold off.
Yeah, I know somebody bought so 52.
Yeah, well, we sold 50 in a one package deal.
Right,
To
right.
So what we did is we basically took the sale from that big package deal and from the others, and we've rolled them into different asset classes. So kind of like I was telling you earlier, we've got a 240 unit storage facility on 10 acres on the south side of Springfield that we're currently in the phase of construction on. We're going to start setting buildings in the next couple of weeks, so that'll be open to the public by April of next year.
Nice.
And then we haven't told a lot of people about it, but Evan and I bought 3.5 acres over off of like the Sunset and Campbell area, and we're working through the design phase on 40 unit, like very modern apartment complex with a gym and an outdoor dog park.
Well, that'd be perfect right here.
Yeah, it'd be really great. So we kind of took we took some of those properties, sold them, and then just moved that into some different asset classes. I think we've kind of talked. I don't think we're going to sell a whole lot for this year. We've got we want to keep a fairly large portfolio, and then we've also just got enough development stuff going on right now that there's probably not a need to sell to roll into that. So
exactly right.
I won't answer for Evan. I'll answer for myself. Out of state, I would not buy any burrs out of state. I'm too hands-on and need to be in control, and I need to know the contractors, and I need to be where I go. Right now, I've been working on taxes and all that, crappy end of the year stuff that you got to do. But most of the time, year round, I'm on every job site that we have daily, and so like I gotta be boots on the ground. I gotta see what's going on. And I can't do that if it's out of state. So I would buy something that was stabilized, probably from an investor that we knew, or something that was a good deal that was already stabilized. I would entertain that. But I think right now, for what we're doing, we don't need to look out of state. I mean, maybe eventually, but
exactly, man.
There's
a lot of things going on.
There is
right where we're at.
Yeah, especially with our development side, I mean, that's a big thing for us. These larger apartment complexes and the storage units, and
so basically the ones that everybody's running around crazy trying to buy,
yes,
building them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's a problem in the market right now, and that there's no land available. All the land's been bought. I mean, this is conversations that are having very high ups, like people are having, is that there's no land to buy.
Yeah,
there's land to buy, but it's really expensive. Like the days of a $3,000 acre is gone, right? Like all the Kardashians of the world have gone to Wyoming and they've bought it.
Exactly.
So it's like $70,000 an acre, right?
Yeah.
So we had the discussion early on, is like there is no more acreage, and if we're going to do something, we're going to have, and again, luckily to have Josh, this is just down his wheelhouse. It's like, we're going to have to build, we're going to have to develop. There's not a lot of left. So if we're going to do it, we need to do it now.
Definitely, that's a pivot, and that's a pivot, right? That's gonna like kill the game, right? That's a pivot that's going to change the game, bring way more houses to Springfield, right? And like multi-unit.
Yeah. So the housing community in Springfield is really interesting, just because it's COVID and like the demand's been really high for the past 2 years, but we have a uniqueness of high demand, considering we just added 10,000 jobs with Amazon, right? Like Amazon just plotted itself in between Springfield and Republic.
Right.
Boom, there it is. And 35% of my sales last year, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty common across the whole market, were buyers from California, Arizona, Washington, those states. They're coming here. And so not only are we buying homes, out of state people are coming here to buy homes, and that makes our land even less scarce. So the idea of us putting Josh building apartment community is very appeasing for us, because it fits the model. It fits what we do, what Springfield's going to need in the future. I say Springfield, but Springfield and surrounding areas, because I don't think this, little demand's going to stop for our area. It'll slow down with the interest rates, but it's going to keep growing. It's not slowing.
Well, and it's also just another way to diversify our company.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's we kind of want to be the full turn real estate company. So like we'll always burr single family real estate. That single 1 to 4 family will always be a part of our business, our culture, everything that we do. But if we can throw in some new build apartments, throw in some storage units, and kind of do that, that's just a win-win. You know, and so that's kind of we look at it as just a subcategory, another stream of income, just another division of what we're doing. So it's not to take away from the real estate investing and from the burrs. It's really just to add to another development, another piece of our business.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. I mean, it seems like everything's full steam. Everything's going well. You guys got the family. Like I can't even at this point how you explained it to me. I can't even call these guys like a team anymore. They're just like everybody's just like a family, right?
Yeah.
Because even like you were saying, Josh, like people wearing t-shirts, like everyone has consumed the culture. Right? So which makes ships, man, you know, when everybody's on board, when the leader's not assholes, right? When the leaders love
what company are we talking about?
Want to see
where the leaders aren't assholes.
Two guys buying homes right there, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Right? Right. So it balances out so well. Right, because you guys complement each other so well, right? It's kind of like yin and yang, itchy scratchy. Yeah, you know what I mean? To where you guys are literally working this thing out and scaling this thing, right? For somebody listening right now who don't know, right? They may be at work and they may be looking at their 401k, or they may be looking at some GameStop that they bought, and you know they may be trying to get into the real estate industry. Where would you guys say be a good start from someone's just beginning?
Get started. I mean, it's really like, you know, it's making that first action, and that first action is usually just making a phone call to somebody. Like for me, I'm the real estate agent. You know, make a call to the investing real estate agent or a friend that you know that invests, or I mean, call us. I mean, shoot, we're on the phone constantly. You know, give us a shout, you know, call Lenny, you know, like that's the thing that gets the first domino is to make that first action. And it's not, you know, talking to your significant other necessarily. It is, you know, make that phone call to somebody who can point you at least in the right direction. You know, it's that little first domino. I mean, you know, like Josh calling me and saying, hey, dude, I'm thinking about investing. And then, you know, 3 months later, we look up and we have 20 homes. It's insane, you know.
Right.
It's just go do it. You're going to screw up, like just go do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it's if it's your that first time investor, I mean, you got to do a little bit of research. You gotta learn some things, but man, I mean, like Evan and I had maybe 2 or 3 conversations before we bought our first house, and we met with a really good friend of ours that is a banker, and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What is your underwriting criteria? Like, how do we need to evaluate these so that way when we put the money in for the purchase and the rehab, we can get the money back. You know, I wanted to make sure that we could go to the bank and get that done.
Right.
And so he kind of just outlined that for us. I was like, okay. And so I told Evan, I was like, well, we got to buy something that this works on. And that was kind of how we first started evaluating the properties, was off of that. But I mean, Lenny, from the time we had our first conversation till we probably signed the first dotted line was a couple of weeks. I mean, it was unbelievable how fast it went. You know, and I get a lot of, and I know Evan does too, a lot of people that, hey, I got a family member wants to get in real estate investor. I got this person, you know, can they call and talk to you? Can they do this? And I'm always like super willing to do that, because I'm a very high maintenance guy, and I call the guys that I look up to that are mentors to me, I call them bug a lot, you know, and so I wanted, you know, although I don't think I know a whole lot, I want to be any kind of help that I can. And I get a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm researching like A properties and B properties and C properties. Are you like, what about this street and that street? And I'm like, guys, I don't ever look at that shit. Like, if the numbers work, some of our biggest home runs have been in the worst part of towns, areas I would never stay the night. To me, in Springfield location, and I granted other places location's not great, or not a huge factor for us. I mean, like Evan hit it on the head, man. I mean, I think if you're new into real estate investing, you want to get into it, you need to understand what real estate is. You need to get a few things in line, like where's the cash going to come from? Are you going to rehab it? Are you buying something stabilized? If you're going to burr it, who's going to be your bank? You want to talk to an attorney, so you can get the legal entity stuff set up correctly. You want to have some contractors. But other than that, man, I think people just spend too much time researching and doing whatever, and they just don't ever pull the trigger. I always tell them, it's like knowledge is not power unless you put it to use. So it doesn't matter if you know all this stuff if you don't buy something.
Yeah, and it's almost paralysis at a certain point too.
It is, it really is. Yeah.
Josh and I, luckily for us, we are two smart guys, but we're just dumb enough not to care. Like we just have that little too much. We're a little too dumb that we're just going to go do it. Like, oh, there's the car. I'm a dog and I'm chasing it. Like, we do have that instinct. And
right.
Fortunately for us, it's helped us to not look, overanalyze anything. We just go, oh yeah, shiny object, run, and that's good and bad. But for just doing it, you just got to do it. You're going to lose money. Like it's an investment. There is no safety.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Lenny, you're just talking about, deals that you're doing this week. I mean, you've been wholesaling for a long time. You're a seasoned investor. And I mean, you're like, man, I just had this crap happen to me. And it's
right.
That's just part of it. And it's getting out there and getting your feet wet and doing it. And I mean, I don't want to say like just jump in like and just like the first house you buy. I mean, you want to have some kind of education towards real estate investing. You want to know, how the financials work and how to evaluate a property. And the big thing is how to get it financed. And that's like what I learn a lot talking to these guys is they don't understand the numbers. And if you talk to like our bankers that bank with us, a lot of them will tell you that like Evan and I are professional borrowers, and the fact that like when I bring a deal to them, it's like it's all put out in a spreadsheet. It's got all the numbers wrote. It's got what our taxes are. It's got what expenses are. It meets their underwriting criteria. I can show all of it. Like I don't go to the bank and just say, hey, I want to buy this property and then let them try to figure it out. Like I do all the financial work on the front end of it. Mm-hmm. And so that would be a big key part to start with is understanding the numbers.
When we learned this with Lenny, when you do buy a house, before you buy it, make sure it's still there.
Oh gosh, for absolutely 100%. Yeah. Yes.
Make sure for the one-on-one guy.
It's not funny, but
it's still
that damn
for sure, 100%.
That lesson there. That
was another
and we should have took the sign that we couldn't get in.
Yeah.
Right.
We should have took that as the sign and walked off.
Yep.
Hey, but you know what?
Yeah.
As much as that deal sucked, and it cost us $20,000. We got through it. Currently, Lenny, we're just broke ground on a brand new build on it. So we got excavators out there digging up. We're going to put a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage, new house on it. And technically, we're going to make enough that Evan and I are going to lose any money on the deal. So it was a crappy situation, but it turned into a great thing,
Right.
It's a great story. We'll always be able to tell the story.
I know. I told a dude the other day, dude was like, dude had put on Facebook. Well, he had sent the buyer out. He had a property in Louisiana under contract. I had a buyer in Florida to where she could drive to the property and see it. So she drove to the property to see it. She couldn't get in. She went twice. She couldn't get in. So the same person who had that property was the same person who I JV'd with, who called me on the JV.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, hold on, wait, bro. I was like, did you know that? He was like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, I'm sure, but I was like, now, whenever we see a house in this condition, let's call the city first. Let's call the city before we even lock this under contract. Let's call the city, see if it's on the list, see what we got to do to get it off the list. Because
and honestly, it opened up a whole nother avenue for us in our business, where we deal with them a lot on blighted cases. And, it's really become an area where we have other investors that'll call that's been in that situation and say, hey, I bought a house that they're getting ready to bulldoze. It's a blighted case. The city's giving me X amount of time. We can't do it. Can you help me out? And Evan and I went in and bought houses. And then we'll go down to the city and negotiate a deal with them, and we'll get them fixed. And because we've done so many of them, they've been a lot more willing to work with us. The city's goal is not to bulldoze down homes. They want guys like us and other real estate investors to fix them up. It's just tough.
No doubt. So, guys, Antonio Suarez, this guy here is awesome. Guy here, he got a rehabilitation company in Springfield. These guys do it all. He said, will you guys touch on securing funds for rehab after purchasing?
Yeah. So, Evan for funds for rehab. Yeah. So Evan and I were really lucky in the fact that, we were fairly connected starting out with some people that had money and for some reason were willing to lend us money. So we started the traditional hard money route. So the first probably, 70, 80 homes that we did, we used all off of private hard money. We would borrow the purchase and the rehab funds from them. And then we would rehab them, we'd refinance it, and then pay them an interest rate back on it. Now that we've got a company and we can show income and stuff like that, we've secured acquisition lines of credits with our banks, and so we currently don't have any private money out at all. We use all financial institution funds for loans. So, but starting out, man, I mean, it was shoot, we bought $10 million of real estate using other people's money. It was unbelievable. So. But then we moved because it's cheaper. Moved to banks. It's a little bit easier. The process is better. But the hard money was the route we started with.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yeah, I was thinking about hard money too. And, there's a few qualifications for hard money. And nowadays, for real, there's like hard money lenders now that are kind of like look at the deal and be like, oh shit, the numbers work.
Well, and something that I think Evan and I did, what we found was we started with same hard money lenders that probably most investors in town were using. But then once we started doing these and we're making Facebook posts and people are seeing what we're doing, other people that we are connected to that don't know anything about real estate, they'd be like, well, why are these people lending you this money? And then I'd explain to them, it's like, well, if you have your money in the stock market, it's up and down, it's crazy. And, if you lend on this real estate, we'll give you whatever, 10 to 12%. You go on the deed as a mortgage holder. And if something happens, worst case scenario, you end up with a property that you can turn around and sell. Best case scenario, we'll flip it in 90 days. You'll make the money. And then if you want to reinvest it, we'll do it 3 more times that year for you. It's less risk, more guaranteed return, and you can see your money working instead of just having it in the stocks and hoping that it goes away. So we started having people that were not hard money lenders, that had nothing to do with real estate, that just looked at it as a passive way of investing funds. Mm-hmm. And then that gave us the idea of like, well, we're well, yeah, man, we'll just talk to anybody. And I started, Evan and I, it'd be funny, we'd listen to each other in our offices and people would be like, hey, what can we do for you? I'd be like, hey, you got $100,000 you can lend us? Evan send emails to people all the time and end it with like, can I borrow $500K? just stuff like that. But it's all joking. But honestly, man,
it really just kind of opens doors, like
tons of doors, and it just.
I mean, like one of our best hard money lenders is just a gentleman who's retired, has done very well in his life. And honestly, he's just bored, like he wanted to do something different. And, we told him about it. And, he said, let's do one. It's just like me and Josh started. It's like, let's do one. Then he's doing 3 with us. Then he's doing 5 with us. And, like in the era of like 2% interest rates, they were not making money in their bank account. And it was an easy, I guess you could say an easy sell, in the sense of like, hey, you're going to make $5,000 per, $100,000 you lend us. And that's a no brainer when there's 2% interest in your bank account, right? Like no brainer.
Well, and Lenny, the thing too that I want to hit on with that is like a lot of people are, oh man, hard money is so expensive. And like, you're leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yeah. I mean,
but the truth is that, and this is how Evan and I have always looked at it. If you work with good wholesalers that can get good properties at the good prices and aren't trying to make $30,000-$40,000 every time, and they sell you a good property and you know what you're doing, then you can buy a house at a good price, rehab it correctly, refinance it, still pay off your investor, and cash out refi money, and you can do it with putting no money in out of your own pocket. I mean, when I said earlier, Evan and I mean, we did over $10 million with private money in real estate, never put a dime out of our own pockets, always cash out refi stuff, and all of our investors made money. So wholesalers made money, we made money, investor made money. And it's all because we bought good deals, and so I was never worried about the guy making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, because as long as we did our jobs right, we all made money at the end of the day.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So
exactly. I tell people that too. But actually, Antonio said, "Are you guys looking for more crews for real?"
Yeah, always, 100%, always, yeah.
Always, yeah. Antonio, always.
So. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can put it out there, but he can hit me up on Facebook, or you can give him a phone number.
No,
or
definitely. I got you.
Yeah, for sure.
I got you, Antonio. It's going down, sir.
Yeah, we're always looking at goals. I didn't really hit on it earlier when you were asking about our goals, but like Evan and I have got some very, very ambitious goals. And I want to double or triple the size of our crews. I'd like to be doing 100 homes a year. And so we're for sure looking to add people on.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
ETS Renovations, is that what he said?
KTS.
Yeah. Okay.
KTS Renovations LLC. Yeah, I met him at that property I bought right there at 501 West Avenue on the corner. Yeah. He actually bought a property around the corner from it. Him and this girl, he had rehab, fucking everything. He's a great guy. I have your number, Josh.
Is that commercial?
Josh, he said, I have your number. I did a demo for you on South.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
He said, absolutely, yeah, it's going down.
Yeah. That's what I thought when I saw the KTS. That's what I thought.
No doubt. But guys, really quick, man, before we go, right?
Yep.
I don't know how big you guys are, but I know you guys learn a lot. You're always into it. Give me 3 books, right, that you guys would recommend for the audience.
Only 3? Josh, you go on first. Let me think.
Well,
we got
probably
books over here.
3 books for the audience. So I'm going to go, and I'm sure everybody else in your podcast says the same thing. I'm going to go with a really good pick for the Richard Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Definitely.
My funny story, when I was like 14, my parents owned some real estate. And my dad actually paid me like $50 to read that when I was like 14, because I was not into reading at that time. And he was like, man, this book will change your life. Like, you need it. And I was like, no, I'm not into it. He's like, I'll give you $50. I was like, I'll read it twice.
Right.
Give Josh money.
Do what?
Give Josh money and a Kit Kat. He'll do it.
Oh, dude, for sure. 100%. Yeah. So, that is a classic that I like. Another one, but Gino Wickman's The Traction. Evan and I actually do the training with them. Where we actually like bring our whole management team in, and we've hired them as an outside consultant. But for anybody that's looking to like really get an operating system in place to run your company, Traction is a really, really good book. Evan and I had both read it prior, and I was a fan of the E-Myth. And I said, hey, we should look into something like this. And then Evan said, what about Traction? And I was like, oh yeah, dude, read it. Great book. I love it. We both reread it. We reached out to him. And so we actually like meet with a lady every month. It's getting ready to switch to quarterly, and it has been a game changer for us. So
Nice.
so yeah, so Rich Dad Poor Dad, Traction by Gino Wickman, and then
Cat in the Hat.
do what?
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat, yeah, man. Green Eggs and Ham,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. No, I know I got another one. It's on Evan. You go and I'll think of it.
So
I'll think of it.
my
There's another
first one is Think and Grow Rich. My mentor in college was worth every penny I spent on college. Told me to read that and figure out what the secret is in the book. That was a game changer. So that's the first one. Can't
they
Hurt
talk
Me.
about the first chapter.
What's that?
Stuff that I was being a smart ass.
No, you.
So they tell you in like the first chapter. You don't need to read the rest of the book.
I listen on Audible, asshole. Can't Hurt Me. Phenomenal. Love that book. Then Shoe Dog. Phil Knight, one of the best. So I read that a long time ago, didn't think anything of it. And then Josh and I, with our ups and downs, we're talking like $10, $20 million and stuff that we've done in real estate. But Josh and I have had some really tough times,
No,
we've
for sure.
been here really late at the office, just trying to figure stuff out before. And I'm pulling that book off and just knowing that the guy that created Nike, this multi-billion-dollar company, had way worse nights than us. And, that it was just kind of nice to know, like, oh, this is a part of it. We're not just idiots.
Yeah, definitely, man. Everything,
Part
like
of
I tell everybody, everything, like you get everything in this business by actually doing the business.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were saying, like some of this stuff some of this stuff you can't prepare for.
Yeah. Yeah. And that book's really cool because you're listening to a billionaire tell you his inner thoughts of growing this business. And it's almost kind of comforting. It helps me sleep at night going like, oh, this is supposed to be happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. I used to read a lot of the Grant Cardone stuff, Uncle G. I absolutely love that dude. And I read every one of his books when he first, started publishing stuff.
Nice. Perfect. Well, guys, really quick, man. One, we like to do, I just incorporated a few episodes ago. We like to do a final thought, right? Sure. Final thought. Keep everybody, with something on their brains into the next episode, right? Yeah. So which one of you guys want to give a final thought? Evan?
Lenny with the final thought?
Huh? Final thought?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh. Pass.
Josh, final thought?
Yeah, I can take a final thought. I guess one, Lenny, thanks for putting us on here. I feel sorry that you couldn't find anybody else to take an hour of your time tonight. Again, I think for Evan and I, we both love real estate. We're passionate about what we do. We care deeply for the people that work for us and for our community and what we're doing. And I think we have been successful because we treat people the way that we want to be treated. And we just always, not to sound cliche, but we always just try to do the right thing. We don't back out of deals. We close even when we probably shouldn't close. And we just genuinely try to be decent human beings. And that's just, I think that's our business in a nutshell.
It's very true. That is absolutely very true.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. Well, man, you guys are building, you guys are buying, you guys are holding, you guys are creating value in the neighborhood. You guys
Yeah.
are hiring, right? Hiring,
Yep.
feeding families, and on my part, I tell people, if I go get a property under contract, I'm not the only person that's going to eat off me getting this property under contract.
Right.
The property got to go to the buyers, then the crews get paid, the plumbers get paid, the city get paid, like everybody gets paid, off these transactions. So, like I in the next 2 years, 5 years, however to go, I just hope I can actually kind of be where you guys are at on your worst day. Okay. So hey.
You'll get there, man. You'll be there super soon, and our worst day is pretty terrible, so don't wish for that.
Yeah, that's why I always bug you guys.
Yeah. You want to feel better about yourself, call us.
You can bug us.
Dude.
Hey, Jay just said, "What's up, Lenny?"
Hey, what up, Jay? But yeah, guys, man, thanks for coming on, man. I do got some deals to shoot your way though. Too, by the way. So we're gonna get it in, fellas. Guys, thanks for coming to the podcast. Guys, this has been another episode of Wholesaling with Lenny with Evan Ryan and Josh Manning of Two Guys Selling Homes, Two Guys Renting Homes as well. If you guys are looking for properties to rent in the Springfield area, and if you got some properties you want to sell, definitely hit these two guys up, and it is going down. Kobe, thank you. Hey, Kobe, man. Kobe said thank you, guys. Kobe, you are very welcome.
Thanks, Kobe.
No doubt, guys. No, once again, man, thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
See you, man. Thanks, Lenny.
Peace, no doubt.